And welcome back, everyone, to Togonzo Tech. This time, we're going to take a look at MiniTool Partition Wizard. Their free version, 12.7, is available now. And when I first started this up, I was hit with nostalgia, folks, because I have used this program off and on for many years. This thing goes all the way back to Windows 7, and over the years, I've used it off and on, but I could never remember the name of it. But the user interface, oh yeah, it's just instant nostalgia. This program has been featured in PC World, Software Informer, Tech Advisor. Has a lot of features in it. You can create and delete format partitions, resize them, wipe them, convert them from FAT to NTFS, merge and split them, copy the disk or the partition. And it also has a space analyzer. Right here's another one that I like is a surface test. Because normally what you have to do if you want to do a surface test is you'd have to run check disk or boot to a, sometimes I would boot to a Linux distro and run smart tests that way. Right here, you got it all in one application. Also has a disk benchmarker, benchmarking utility. And these are all the additions that you can, that they offer, the free for lifetime. You can create, format, and delete partitions, resize them and move them. You can scan your file system, and you can convert FAT to NTFS. But for the $60 Pro version, you get all that, plus you can convert dynamic disk to basic, migrate your OS to your solid state or hard drive, which I've used before. I just remembered, I did use that before at one point or another. I remember using something, and I think it was this is the program I used. Copy an OS disk, convert an OS disk from NBR to GPT. This right here, when you convert OS disk from NBR to GPT, a lot of people with B450 Ryzen chipsets or older, when they installed their Windows system, they were probably in legacy mode. And if they have to switch to UEFI mode, their Windows won't boot because their hard drive is set to NBR. This will fix it. This will convert it to GPT, and you're all set. And you also have bootable media. The Platinum version adds partition and data recovery to the mix, and 3 PC license. So that's not too bad at all. So let's take a look at what we got here. I've got it loaded up. And this is what I was talking about. This user interface, I was just hit with nostalgia. And all these options on the wizard, you got your migrate OS, copy partition, copy disk wizard, partition recovery. You can move and resize your partitions. And then everything else for partition management is right here. Delete, format, copy, and wipe. You can set a label, change a drive letter, change a partition type. That's convenient when you want to hide a partition, so it doesn't show up when you insert the flash drive. Change your serial number, hide a partition, set one as active. You also have your check partitions for your surface test and data recovery right all there on the left-hand side. Below is all the pending operations. This is what it'll do when everything's sitting here. Now, what I wanted to do here is I've got my, if you notice, disk 4 here is on my Sabrent USB hub, and it is a hard drive from my PlayStation 2, and it's formatted in exFAT. So what I want to try, and if you notice, I do have data on this drive. There's 31% data on here, so I've got some of my old PS2 games on here. What I want to try out, and what I'm curious, is whether it can convert this exFAT partition from NBR to GPT without being data destructive. If not, that's no problem. I'm cool with that. And I'm highlighting the disk here, and I don't see an option to do that. It says here you can create NBR to GPT. There it is. Let's do that. And let's see what happens. Because it is an NBR disk. So let's see what we get there. Let's apply these changes. And the data's intact. Absolutely phenomenal. Let's double check that. Let me pull that up in my. Yeah, the data is intact. Fantastic. I like that. Oh, wild. Now, I'm not done yet. Let's, since that works very well, and I think I was having an issue with this drive earlier. I think it would be great to wipe it completely and start over fresh. So let's see. Let's right-click this and delete. There we go, and let's apply. And now it applies all the information there. Now that drive is completely wiped and empty. And it's still formatted as GPT. So let me create a new partition. And I'm going to give it the full, I don't need a partition label. Primary drive letter, I want it to be a Z. I want it at the very bottom of my list there. The file system I want is exFAT. And the cluster size, default, should be 128K. So I'm going to leave it at default. That should be what the default is for exFAT. And primary is right. Yeah. Oh, the drive letter changed. Let's go back down to Z. There we go. And I want to use the whole space. So let's do that. And let's apply. There we go. Nicely done. That's all situated and ready to roll. So now I can, it's a clean formatted GPT drive with exFAT. So now I can restore the data that I had on it without much of a problem. And I wanted to try something else while I've got this thing. Let's do a disk benchmark, because sometimes when you're running hard drives in USB mode, you don't have them configured correctly, and the speed is, it's janky, to say just to say, for lack of a better term, it's pretty janky. Let's do a disk benchmark, and we're going to select my Western Digital drive, and yeah, it's my physical drive. Transfer size is 4 kilobytes. Queue number 8. Cooldown time 5 seconds. So let's test this out and see what happens here. And let's see, the test mode is sequential. Yeah, let's do that. Going to take a little bit of time here, but that's no problem. Oh, right here in the corner here, you see my mouse. It's showing you what's going on in real time. So that's cool. And it has a cooldown of 5 seconds before each test. Gives you a nice graph. You can see it somewhat in the background there. Halfway through. Oh, yeah. 2,500. Yeah, that's about right for that drive. It's a Western. This is a Western Digital SN 750 SE. So yeah, it's right. It's a 500 gig Western Digital Black. So the speed is right up there. Yep, 3,000 megabytes a second. We're almost finished here. Yep, that's about right. 32. Yep, 3,000 megabytes a second on the 32K. 16K gets 2574. Gets down to 8 on the 8 kilobyte. We get 1932. And not too bad. That is that's sequential reading. The sequential writes 200 megabytes, 90 megabytes. Not too bad. That's not too bad for this drive. But now let's look at my USB stick. I mean, not my stick, but my Z drive with exFAT on it. Let's try that in my Sabrent USB jack. And yeah, let's do a 1 gig. Well, let's do a 1 gig. Yeah, 1 gig test. Because this this Sabrent dock is fairly fast for a USB dock. I was impressed with it. Yep. There we go. 4 kilobyte read came out to 127 megabytes. Sorry for the noise there. The sequential writes come up to 108. Not too shabby. Exactly what I expect. For the 8K sequential reads, I'm getting 125. And for the writes, 121. Yep. Fantastic for my little USB dock there from Sabrent. I'm impressed. This thing replaced a Kingston that was only USB 2.0. Oh, talk about wow. Yeah, it was long in the tooth. It needed to go. Right now, we're just finishing up the 16 kilobyte sequential reads, 125, and then 120 on the writes. And for 32K, it's right up there. It's consistent, 125 for the sequential reads, and the sequential writes come out to 125. And that is for my little Sabrent USB 3.1 dock, which has a Seagate 1 terabyte laptop drive, 5400 RPM. That's pretty good. Absolutely phenomenal. And yeah, it also has this bootable media here. Let's check it. The Windows PE bootable media. So if you want to use it the same way you would use G-parted. Yep, this will be a good, decent replacement for that. There was something else I wanted to look at here. The migrate OS to right here. This is it here. Now this gives you two choices, and I like it. It keeps it very simple. How would you like to migrate your OS? Would you like to replace the system disk with another disk? MiniTool Partition Wizard will copy all the partitions on the system disk to a hard disk. Basically, that means it'll clone the disk. But this one right here seems like I would like to move my operating system to another hard disk and keep the original hard disk in my computer. Mini Partition Wizard will copy the system required partitions only. So that looks like this is a complete one-to-one copy, while this one is like an imaging. It's a different style of cloning, and I kind of like that, because sometimes when you just want to make a quick clone of a drive, and it might not be an operating system drive, this will come in very handy. Or better yet, like if you want to say like you just bought a new solid state drive, and you forgot to run your backup or whatever. You don't have a backup file of an existing drive image. So your only option in this scenario is to clone it in real time. So what you would do is put your new drive. Let's say for instance your existing operating system drive was on a rotating spinner like my little Seagate here. Let's say for instance this little Seagate was your operating system drive, and you just bought a brand new M.2 drive. Well, you install it in your motherboard, but you don't have you never backed up your OS. All you can do is clone in real time. Well, you put that little drive into your little Sabrent USB dock, and you can clone it in real time and save you a lot of headache. But anyway, this is MiniTool Partition Wizard Pro, and it is fantastic. Works very well. What's this? Let me check out this space analyzer. I've never seen something like that. Let's scan C drive and see what we get. Let's see, total space, 465 gig. Oh, so that's cool. Tells you everything. It's like a very raw file manager. I like that. Shows you everything that's on your C drive and all the file types that it detected. That's cool. I like that. We can exit that out. We can exit the disk benchmark out. Go back to here. Fantastic, man. Anyway, this is MiniTool Partition Wizard. And it's a doozy. It really helps, especially even if you just need the freeware version. Even that helps, but you, you would be remiss if you did not get if you did not get the $60 professional version, because the options you get here are phenomenal. Disk map location, a legend bar. Let's see what we got here. Convert GP. You can convert. See how I converted? I converted this disk from MBR to GPT. Well, then I can convert it back if I wanted to. That's cool. I like that. Partition dynamic disk. You can change it to a dynamic disk. So yeah, this is very nostalgic because I did use this program off and on over the years, and I always felt like my system was naked without a dedicated file manager and a disk storage manager, I guess you could say. And well, this is it right here, folks. This is phenomenal. MiniTool Partition Wizard 12.7, fantastic piece of software. And yeah, there you have it. If you like what you see, hit the bell, ring the bell rather, give me a thumbs up, and subscribe to Togonzo Media. Thanks for watching.